Hello, welcome to my channel. 10 of Wands today, which is generally about feeling stressed and overwhelmed. And if you are feeling like that, I've got a great Kate Bush song for you. So I've got the Thoth here and the Rider-Waite. The Rider-Waite, I mean, I like the Thoth because it's very straightforward, isn't it? Oppression, which is what it's about, being overwhelmed, taking on too much, probably needing to say no a little more. If we look at the Rider-Waite, he is in a very uncomfortable posture. He cannot maintain this for much further. These look very heavy. He can't really see where he's going. But there is optimism here because it's a nice sunny day. The town doesn't look too far. The road is flat. So things are turning around. So this is a 10, and any 10s we're talking about an ending, but that also can mean lead to a beginning as well. So this is Sagittarius in Saturn. I tend to think, and maybe you're a Sagittarian yourself, but I tend to think of Sagittarians as fairly outgoing, proactive people. They like to be busy, like travel, like exploring, fairly open-minded and curious. And they are the sort of people that you would, in a community event or something, you would probably, they'll volunteer to help out, but also someone that also, gets roped into things because they're willing and they seem really positive. But maybe they're not that great at saying no and putting boundaries down sometimes. They could easily overcommit and want to do too much. And the Saturn, of course, is a restriction on the Sagittarius energy. Now, this is a wonderful book if you haven't seen it or got it already. It's by Benebell Wan. But it's massive in itself. It is overwhelming. And when this arrived, I felt excited, but sometimes when I get a really huge book like this, it is too much, because normally I would read from cover to cover. That's how I usually read. So I definitely just have to dip in and out of this. And when I do, I always get a really interesting perspective because it is so thorough. And I thought that she said a really interesting thing about this card. So I just wanted to read what she said. So let me get the 10 of Wands as well, because she talks about the 2 of Pentacles, which is why I've got that there. But let me just put the 10 of Wands here. So typically, the 10 of Wands represents other people's burdens, but the seeker is one who tends to shoulder the burdens of others and make those burdens his or her own responsibility. The burdens could also represent commitments or obligations the seeker has to others. The wands generally represent not the seeker's own burdens carried for his or her personal benefit, but burdens the seeker has taken on for the sake of others. Contrast the 2 of Pentacles, which can suggest the sense of being overburdened and multiple projects or multiple focal points. On the other hand, 10 of Wands suggests someone who's carrying other people's work and feeling exhausted from the responsibilities. And I think in the 9 of Wands, I talked about how I struggle with the word resilience, because often, especially like in work, I know when the job that I got burnt out for, that one of the qualities I was interviewed for was resilience. And when I had burnout, I felt that was maybe that word was a bit of an excuse for having unreasonably stressful work conditions. Also, there's an ableist connotations, because not everybody can graft and slog. Well, I would say actually it's not really healthy for anyone, but certainly if you have a disability, you're going to need more rest probably than someone that hasn't. And I think that we need to be a bit more in jobs. We need to allow for that and allow people to have those breaks and rather than seeing this kind of almost martyr-like working hard as something that we expect and we want from people. So I think there can be an issue with that. And certainly if it comes up in a reading, it is a question of, am I doing too much? But sometimes, and I think this is probably what the Kate Bush song is more about, is that sometimes we're just in a situation, someone's ill, something awful's happened, and there is no way out of it, actually. We have to just face it and use our inner resources to get through it. But that also, I think, must encompass being kind and gentle to ourselves too. And I don't feel this person here is necessarily being gentle and kind to themselves and thinking about what they need. They're just so focused on their task, aren't they? They are risking injuring themselves, probably. So let's just go to the Kate Bush song. So it's from Central World. I'm excited about this song, actually, because it is... I used to listen to Central World a lot when I was a teenager at university and things, and it was one of those songs that I would choose when I was feeling low. So walk straight down the middle of it, or walk straight down the middle. And I wanted to read, I love what Kate Bush says about this song. It's on katebushencyclopedia.com. This photo, and so I'll read that in a minute, this photo I think is from Never Forever era. As I said, it's harder to get, as Kate Bush gets older, it's harder to get photos of her. But I liked how the dignity here, you note that she hasn't got the wands here. She's very much unburdened and looks like someone who is able to say, no, I am too busy right now. But I also liked this lyric. It hadn't started yet, because it's that idea of the Ten of Wands, or any tens, being this turnaround, that something new is going to happen. And it's that hope as well, that this time is awful, but things will get better. So let me just finish with the wonderful thing that Kate Bush says about this song. So she says, it's a bit less worked on than the other tracks. It's about trying not to get caught up in extremes. My mother was down the garden when the funny bits at the end were being played. She rushed in and said she'd heard some peacocks in the garden. How sweet. I can't take the song seriously now. So I won't imitate the sounds that Kate Bush says at the end. But that's clearly what her mum was talking about. So I love that humour in it. And I love what Kate Bush says about... She says about not being caught in extremes, but I think I've always interpreted it as more of, let's just get through this. Things aren't as bad as they seem at the moment. Sometimes we do just have to walk through trouble, don't we, or difficult times. So, wishing you a great rest of your day or evening, and thanks as always for watching. Goodbye.